My name is Stuart Murray, and I'm an educator in New Brunswick, Canada. These last few months have been incredibly challenging for so many of us, and I just wanted to do my part to let you know that if you're having a hard time, you're not alone. And I wanted to help share my story and contribute to the dialogue that I think we need to engage in to reclaim our democracy. My background is in environmental science. I've studied and researched on various projects throughout Canada and have participated in many scientific experiments and conducted many scientific experiments throughout the years. And then more recently, I have been working in education. My passion in the most recent years has been around community integrated and sustainability based learning. I really care about seeing kids engage in their local communities, taking on opportunities, solving problems, really connecting to that inner wisdom that they have and providing them with the tools that each one of them needs to be able to live authentic and meaningful lives. When the mandate first came and I started hearing talks about discriminatory practices happening in August, I became quite concerned. Obviously, we tend to do that when things impact us directly. And I really thought to myself, why is this happening? I just want to focus on addressing the barriers that I see in education, getting students engaged, having them deal with local issues and contribute to sustainability on our planet. And I said, why do I now have to focus attention on this mandate? I really saw that it took away from what I wanted to do. But as that sat with me more and more, I realized if I don't live in a free and democratic society, none of the other stuff I want to do matters. I asked questions to my employer, to the union, to public health, and to my surprise, early on, I received not a single answer. Nothing. And it was quite shocking. It was quite overwhelming to know what I was sitting with, and it became clear to me in that moment that this is not about science, because science, as far as I understood and understand, requires active and constant debate and discourse in which these policies that have been rolling out have lacked that entirely. It's all hinged upon a singular narrative that we all have to believe in for our protection. As I started asking questions, my employer told me to talk to public health. Public health told me to talk to my employer. Both of them offering me condescending feedback and that I should follow the science and go check out all of the scientific information on the government's webpage, where apparently science is hosted. And I've attempted to pursue the scientific method and test out various hypotheses, engage in dialogue and discourse, not to figure out who is right, but to figure out what is right, and to navigate with nuance these challenging and unprecedented times. Unfortunately, all of my questioning and my genuine interrogation has been met with shaming and slander. It's been met with bullying, and now I've even had to deal with a disciplinary meeting for insubordination, simply for asking questions and passing them up the chain and receiving no answers. I'll talk more about the letter that I sent, that I received my message for insubordination in another video. Despite the government of New Brunswick's inability to answer my questions or the questions of anybody who's been asking them, anybody who is currently unvaccinated is unable to travel throughout the country by public transport. They are unable to leave the country, period, from any port. And now, in New Brunswick, any public servant is unable to keep their job. And in losing their job, they are not even able to access unemployment insurance. Traditionally, a benefit that every tax-paying Canadian is entitled to. And let us not forget, just over 1 year ago, our government openly and willingly gave out these $2,000 CERB checks to virtually anybody who applied. And now people are genuinely losing their jobs with no opportunity to access any financial support in the interim. The province of New Brunswick has reinstated a state of emergency as of September 24th, 2021. And they declared that when 25 or more people were hospitalized for COVID-19. Now, that order will stay in effect until 10 people or less are hospitalized with COVID-19. Given that there's more people who are vaccinated in the hospital than that, I have no idea when this state of emergency will end. And such a measure gives government wide sweeping control over decisions and policy and can pass things through without that typical process that a governing body must follow. A group of New Brunswick citizens have put together an organization called Stand for Freedom New Brunswick. And many New Brunswick citizens have contributed varying amounts of money to put together to fight for a lawsuit against the government of New Brunswick. I'm currently one of 4 applicants on Stand for Freedom's one of 3 lawsuits. The lawsuit that I'm a part of is challenging the government on behalf of all civil servants for wrongful dismissal because of the vaccine mandates. Our argument is that this represents a violation of Section 7 of our chartered right to liberty and security of the person, as well as Section 8 of our charter, which is a reasonable expectation of privacy. These are constitutionally guaranteed rights that are not just luxuries of individuals that can be cast away at any time the government declares a public health emergency. Section 1 of the Charter is not just a free pass to the government to trample on our fundamental freedoms or oppress minorities. Section 1, instead, is a narrow exception to limit Charter-protected rights only if the state can reasonably demonstrate with real-world evidence that such limitation is justified in a free and democratic society, not a utilitarian society. One must also consider the risk and danger that an experimental vaccine could cause. It is clear, despite the government saying that it's very safe and effective, there have been many individuals who have been injured from this vaccine. And given the fact that this vaccine has not proven to provide 100% immunity and that there are a tremendous amount of breakthrough cases, forcing an entire population to take an experimental injection that does not provide 100% efficacy seems completely unreasonable. Ultimately, we are taking this to courts because we have lost our ability to dialogue and reason with the government and with employers. And there's clearly a power imbalance between the government and the minority of individuals who have chosen not to be vaccinated for whatever reason at this point in time. And now we have turned to use the courts as our legal recourse. My plan is to start to create videos in my amateur home setting space with my first time using video editing software, so be patient, to provide updates on what's happening in the courts and what's happening in our province around this mandate. I also plan to upload more videos about my experiences so far, and really just want to contribute, as I mentioned before, to the dialogue around what is happening and contribute to sense making and bring power back to the people. Thank you.